have you? Because I never have. I've never lived at a time like this where I've heard what you said is true. What you just said is true. People are tired of it, and pretty soon it's got to stop.
Well, it looks like a lot could happen right now. I suppose the late 90s was maybe a similar time. 98, 99. There was a lot of pressure back then. Just want to say, my research, if it shows me anything, it shows the police are the single most important factor for reducing crime. I have no doubt about that. I found that consistently if any of you have read my books. But I think, the police themselves understand you almost always arrive on the crime scene after the crime's been committed. It's kind of like your ad, almost exactly that you had there. And the question is, what should people do when they're by themselves and the police aren't there? And what's missed out in so much of this debate that we have is that people talk about the benefits from some law, but they never talk about the possible costs that are there in terms of, we all want to try to keep guns away from criminals. But, you just take kind of the simplest example where you can go and ban guns. That seems like an obvious way to get guns away from criminals. But what happens then? It's every time, in every place in the world that we have crime data, both before and after a ban, murder rates go up. I cannot find one place in the world where there's been a gun ban and murder rates have gone down. And the simple reason is that it's the law-abiding good citizens who obey these bans and not the criminals. And it's just not something as simple as a ban. You have many other types of regulations that are there and you have to be careful when we pass these types of things, who is going to be most affected. And because otherwise you often will unintentionally. So Massachusetts, just looking at some data, they passed registration. You mentioned maybe the end game. They passed registration in 1998. The number of legal gun owners in Massachusetts has gone from 1.5 million to 200,000 since then. Massachusetts has been one of the few places in the country that's seen increases in murder rates and violent crime since then. If you compare it to their neighbors, Massachusetts' murder rate was 70% of the level of its neighbors in 1998. Now it's 125% of the level of its neighbors. And you can see the increase that occurred right when they started taking guns away from people.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes with you, John, on the back half. We just have a couple of minutes left, and I want to talk to you about, will he push us over the edge? Because it's not just guns. We'll do that next.